What a heck of a day that that drove me to about 1,000 more gray hairs. I'll tell you that much. First of all,
I don't believe that. I don't believe you have 1,000 hairs.
He's got back hair. Relax.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I was talking about the back hair.
You can get that lasered off at
Ear hair.
Yeah. Oh boy, so where do we start with this thing, man? I gotta say, Thursday, maybe 2 hours of sleep. Friday, 0 sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the field that entire time, man. And this is something that has never been done before. So we didn't have a game plan. We didn't have enough people. My fault.
There's no rule book.
No rule book. No rule book for something like this. For a festival / athletic competition / day of drinking and eating butt. Can I first tell you the best part of the day was when we started with the Eat the Butt competition. And right out of the gate, the crowd was chanting. We had thousands of people crowded around these guys eating pork butt. And they were chanting, "Eat that butt! Eat that butt!" It was hilarious. It was hilarious. So yeah, I don't even know where to start on this thing, man. I guess we'll start with what almost went devastatingly wrong. Can we start with that?
Yeah.
First of all, obviously we had to have credit card payments out there, right?
Yeah.
And so I made an appointment with the folks at Clover. Had a Clover rep who I thought was amazing. Thought is the key word there. And so we were set to have a meeting that Wednesday and order the Clovers and get them shipped out here and get them to me. So I call the guy, the rep on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, hey, haven't heard from you. What's going on with the Clovers? Didn't hear back. Phone disconnected. On Wednesday, and in 3 days, this event starts. And we're going to have no way to take money. So had to frantically get with the Clover people and make sure we had credit card payments out there. I don't know what the hell I signed. I don't know if I'm obligated to Clover for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
but
make sure you send those machines back. Make
Yeah.
sure you send
I
those
think it's
machines
one
back.
off by event.
that's
I
when
don't think it's like for the rest of your life.
That's when they get you with the really
Right.
So
Yes.
they'll hit you double for how much the machine cost.
Yeah.
If you don't send it back to
They're a
them.
hot mess.
Yeah, definitely. And they don't call you to tell you to bring back the machine.
no, they want you to
want
forget.
you to accidentally
They
keep the machine.
They just
That's their thing.
keep sending you bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have your information.
So apparently my rep and Clover had parted ways. They had parted ways, and I was not informed by anybody.
How horrible.
And my information was not in this Clover system.
Oh goodness.
Oh, so it was a half a day when I didn't have half a day to get payment out there at the field so that you guys could come out and pay to get in and pay for drinks and stuff like that. So finally get that settled out. Friday was the big setup day. And I got to give a big shout out to some of the great people that showed up. My buddy Kevin, who just worked his absolute ass off. And he doesn't have much ass to work off. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that right now.
He's not as large as Hefty Lefty.
No, he's not. Was out there with me till like 2 a.m. Big shout out to Heather, who showed up out there at like 4 a.m.
After work, right?
Yeah. Was
After work in a possibly Prohibition kitchen, but
Yes. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Who came out there and worked with me through the rest of the night. That was great. Should I tell the real story about the pool?
Yes.
Should I tell the real story about the pool?
You already have.
Well, you told it to us off camera.
Well,
No. You've already told the story that needs to be told. But go ahead. You feel like you need to.
It's a great
I feel like I
story.
need
come
to.
clean.
Because, most of the people in attendance were not from St. Johns County anyway. So they're not going to see
they're
this.
not watching.
They're not even going to see this. So the pool is my favorite part. It was not at the time, but this is my favorite part of the Florida Man Games saga.
Damn pool. Damn pool.
Boy, I drew. Oof. So we hadn't filled this pool up before. And this is like an inflatable pool. Basically, you inflate the ring around the top of the
Just
pool.
around the top to hold in everything.
Right. And then you fill the pool up with water, and that kind of brings the rest of the pool up, right? And that was going to be our big Florida Man Games Coliseum, as I've been calling it for a year. So you guys were gracious enough. Couldn't have done it without you guys showing up and helping either.
Yeah.
You guys were good enough to help me fill up this pool. So we've got a hose in the pool. It's running for about 3 hours. You guys take off.
It has about this much water in it after 3 hours.
About that much water after 3 hours. Boy, I was nervous about that damn pool.
Well, the hardest part was actually getting the podiums inside the pool, and we had them at the right distance.
Right.
But I can tell you this, I was so afraid. Well, when you said we're gonna, because the podiums were this high, they were tall. I was so afraid. I went home that night. I was like, somebody's gonna get hurt if they get on those podiums.
Right. Well, the plan was that the pool was big enough to where if they fell, they'd fall into the pool.
Yeah.
So it's about 4 a.m. I'm there all night, no sleep. Didn't sleep at all Friday night. I ran the Florida Man Games on pure will to make a good event happen.
Yeah.
And Troy, you weren't the only one who noted that I basically looked like a zombie out there that day. Everybody said,
well, I knew you hadn't slept in 3 days.
No, I had not slept one wink in 3 days. So it's 4 a.m. and I go out and I check the field and I hear water running. And there is apparently a built-in hole in this pool where a filter is supposed to go.
Yeah.
Screw in and...
Yeah, the aerator and that's supposed to be in that hole. And it's about halfway up the pool.
Right, about halfway up the pool. Yeah. And it is profusely leaking water, gallons by the minute. And so it's 4 a.m. We have 4 hours until this event starts. That's not even enough time to fill the pool back up. So I get everything fixed. I get the hole patched. And the pool continues to fill up. Big problem number 2 with the pool. The pool was lopsided because there was more pool material on one side than on the other side. So when it filled up with water, filled up like this, right? And that was not going to be safe. That was not going to be safe at all.
It's not going to be safe anyway.
I could not, there was no way, because safety was my top priority at this thing. It really was. I mean, this was designed, and the marketing around it was designed to feel very dangerous. But my top priority was making sure every single competitor walked out of there feeling fine. Maybe a little bit sore. Muscles are going to be sore.
They were sore.
I can promise you they were sore.
The guy who got whacked with the noodle on the side of the head, I'm sure he's...
Well, that's why I had helmets.
Yeah,
again, top priority was safety.
There.
Yeah, top priority was safety. So I said, this is not safe. We cannot do this. But that was my main attraction. You know, that big pool in the middle of the field was going to draw eyeballs. And people were going to be looking at that all day. So now I've got a half filled up pool. With nothing, I couldn't do anything with it. So at 5 a.m, I'm out there draining this pool because it's like we have to at least have a mud pit.
Yeah,
we've got to at least have a mud pit out there for them to duel in. But the water can't be too high, or else they won't be able to move. And again, it's got to be safe. So I'm out there draining the water, gallons of water just flowing onto my legs, and I didn't have time to change my clothes either, so I went through the whole day soaking wet socks, soaking wet pants.
Oh, we talked about that, yeah. Dude, why didn't you just text? I'm around the corner. I could have brought you something.
Dude, my brain was not there, Troy. My brain was not there. No sleep 3 days. Brain was not there.
You couldn't text. There was no service.
Yeah. Well, he could have.
And my phone was probably dead, too. My phone was probably dead.
True.
Because my stupid Apple phone, the plug-in doesn't work anymore, so it has to be wireless. So I can't just go to the Jiffy store and get a plug.
You got to put it on like the little...
Gotta do it on the wireless thing, and I didn't have that with me. Yeah. So I'm freaking out. I'm sitting here like, this is going to be awful. People are going to look at this pool like, this dumb idiot can't even fill up a pool. How's he going to complete this monster of an event that he's put together? So I thought for a second, and I said, I can't just go out there and tell people I don't know how to set up a pool, right? Because that was the first real event, was the weaponized pool noodle mod duel. And if I would have out there and said, hey guys, sorry, I'm too stupid to set up a pool. We gotta totally. I couldn't explain it like that.
Yeah,
right?
no, right.
So I thought, well, this is not the news. This is WWE. We're making a story here. Yeah. The story of the pool that I tell to the crowd does not have to be the factual story of the pool. It has to get people excited.
Right.
So, walked out to the middle of the field during the weaponized pool noodle mud duel. I said, hey, you guys see this pool? It's a little bit of a mess right now. It's a little limp right now. Let me tell you the story of what happened. I get here at 4 a.m. and I see the pool leaking. Somebody has slashed our pool. And I point up at the crow's nest. The St. Johns County had their crow's nest out there. And I said, now St. Johns County, they're on it. They've got video of the guy that's running video in there. They're going to catch him. But I'm told he had New York plates. The crowd erupted. They were booing New York. New York Times still wrote a glowing article after that, by the way. Yeah. Even after we started the games by booing New York. And so I knew I had to get the crowd on my side instead of not being on my side. So there's your real story of the pool.
It was a great pivot. I can tell you right now. I walked up and I was like, oh, why did they take him out? I was like, oh man, they must have stood up there and realized how dangerous. Because what was your other friend's name who actually built the pedestals? Dave? I can't remember his name.
Dale.
Okay. Yeah. So me and Dale were sitting there and we're going, okay, should we put the aerator in? Should we not put the aerator in? But we stood up there and we had the pool noodles and we looked down. We're like,
that's a fall.
Someone's going to die. So I was like, okay. Pete realized how, but it makes for it was a great pivot. The event was even. I think it was better.
I think it was better the way we did it.
Because I think if those things would have fallen, you would have actually lost your pool.
Yeah. So, if people would have fallen on the edge of that pool, it would have dumped water out. It would have been not as safe as I planned for it to be. Yeah. So this worked out.
Yeah.
It
worked out. It worked out great. The whole day worked out great. Every pivot you did. I mean, it was a really, really good event. I got wind burnt though. Whew.
Did you get windburn?
Oh, I was like I looked like your shirt.
I look like my shirt. My face matches my shirt. Yeah. I mean, I got sunburnt to hell. Didn't wear a hat. I was out in the sun for 3 days. But yeah, how about the Florida sumo though? In the cage with the beer flying everywhere. Those are some of my favorite clips that I've seen online. Is these people sumoing in a cage with beer just flying everywhere.
Nitro didn't want it to end.
Nitro loved it. Nitro was loving it. He would never call the matches. He never called the matches.
We're going again. We're going again.
I'm like, Nitro, stop it.
I gotta go home.
We gotta move on, man. Yeah. And the Gladiators loved it. Nitro and Ice, I cannot give them enough props for being out there, man. Not only were they out there helping us officiate, just bringing a real official air to the whole day. But they were having fun and they loved it, and they were talking to the people and the people loved them. It was great, man.
And I'll tell you this, and I know Blake's my son, but the fact that you didn't have any scoring issues as close as it was, because I don't think people really heard how close it actually was.
Yeah.
Because like Hanky Spanky won fairly easy, but second and third place were only 1 point apart.
Right.
And fourth place was only 1 more point behind.
Right.
Oh.
It was that very close.
And I didn't see any arguments of that. I mean, that is really hard to do at any type of event like that. So
huge shout out to Blake.
You set the system in place, and it came out. I don't know what would have been the tiebreaker, because if they'd have finished with the exact same points, was it a beer chug or did you not have one yet?
It was supposed to be a tug of war. Then it would possibly be a mullet toss. However, we didn't have any of that. There was no time to get a rope. There was no time to get mullets. I don't know what the hell the tiebreaker would have been.
It would have been a tug of war.
I don't know what the hell it would have been.
It would have been a tug of war with a shirt. Everybody, take your shirts off. We'll make a rope. Let's go.
Right. Oh, my God. I'm so glad we didn't have a tiebreaker, because there was no tiebreaker. Gosh. There was no tiebreaker on hand, man. Oh, gosh. Brawl of the Badges was great. And I got to tell you, man, it was probably the best for the kids that were there, because it was a full crowd in the Catalina's gym for that boxing match. And they were so excited for the young people, the PAL kids boxing.
Yeah.
And those kids to be that age, 15, 16, and have a crowd like that cheering you on, nobody gets that at that age. Nobody gets that at that age.
But I can tell you this, me personally, just because it was such a long day, I would like to have the Brawl of the Badges like on Friday night. You know, because I couldn't stay. I was so exhausted, and I knew you were absolutely. I didn't do anything, and I was exhausted.
Let me tell you, Troy, how exhausted I was when we said the prayer.
I saw you.
Were you in there for that?
Yeah.
When we said the prayer and stood up and closed our eyes, I fell asleep almost instantly. I fell asleep.
Yeah.
When the prayer was over and I opened my eyes, it felt like waking up in the morning. It was that feeling of I didn't know where I was at first. I was like, why am I in the middle of a boxing match?
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I was
And then
absolutely
the sheriff had you come in
exhausted.
and talk.
I don't know what I said. I hope I made some sort of sense. I just tried to thank everybody that was there and get the hell out of that ring. Had the most awkward entrance into the ring. I tried to be cool and do like a WWE slide through the bottom rope.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
You did like a lay and roll.
I did like a, dude,
You look like the fat kid rolling down the hill.
I really did.
Do we have that on film?
I
anywhere?
hope not. I really hope not. Speaking of on film, got to give a huge shout out to Maritime Creative, RJ, who we had in here in studio. Filmed the whole thing, streamed the whole thing, and it was absolutely amazing. People who said they watched the stream felt like they were there, and they enjoyed it so much throughout the day. It was just an absolutely wild day. People loved the mullet contest. People loved the Florida Man. People loved the Gator Show. People loved it all, man. It was an unbelievably epic day. It really turned out to be one of the most epic days. And by the way, we brought Troy. How full were the hotels?
Everybody around that area was absolutely slammed.
Absolutely slammed.
Yeah.
Absolutely full. We brought in more people from outside of St. Johns County and across the world, by the way.
I met somebody from Oregon.
Yeah, there were people from California. One lady was there from California just to meet Wicks.
San Diego. I met them. They were amazing.
Yeah. Most of the people who came were from outside of St. Johns County. I mean, we did a lot for heads in beds, as they say. But as you can see, the publicity that we're getting from this event, New York Times, NBC, Fox News, all of these huge global organizations. I did an interview in Australia yesterday.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So St. Augustine is getting more publicity from this than anything we've literally ever put on. So I hope the city of St. Augustine appreciates that. In a positive way. No negative press.
Yeah.
All positive. I hope the city of St. Augustine appreciates that. I really do, but it doesn't sound like they do. But it's okay.
Wait, what do you mean?
It's okay. Well, we're not going to go into it.
The hotel people appreciate it.
Hotel people appreciate it. The businesses appreciate it.
Should be celebrated.
Yeah, it should be celebrated. It honestly should be celebrated. But, government's not celebrating it.
They don't understand it, maybe.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's okay.
And Clay,
don't let that
Clay just
distract
made
you.
this comment. I've never seen people stay at a festival so long. And
They stayed all day.
Well, they stayed the entire time, and then when it was over, they still stayed.
Yeah.
And you were so spent. I went up to you and went, "Hey, do you need me to talk to security and start pushing people?" Because they weren't.
I don't even
leaving.
remember that.
They weren't leaving. So I went to Jesse and I went to the city and I was like, "Okay, guys, let's push like we do it at the amp and just push everybody out because." Someone was stealing a bike, and it was I could just see someone getting.
So much got stolen. 3 cows got stolen.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I can't believe it.
They raided the field. People raided the field. They wanted a piece of the Florida Man games. I don't necessarily blame them.
They were riding the bike and they were riding through the pool. I mean, it was like I was like, okay, we got to get these people off. off
before
the
somebody
field.
gets hurt.
I saw people boogie boarding like on in the
It was a wild Florida party, and it is being celebrated this week across the entire world, which is very, very cool, man. It is very, very cool. So next year, does it happen? Hell yeah, it happens next year. Hell yeah, we do this again next year. And I can't wait. I don't know how we're going to make it bigger and better, but we are going to make it bigger and better.
I don't know if you need to make it bigger, man. It was like just the right size. I mean, the events. I'm sure you're going to tweak some of those and change them up a little bit.
Let me tell you, that cash grab will never happen again.
Yeah.
It was boring as hell, and I can admit that.
See around
boring
the
as
backside,
hell. Yeah. It took too long to count the money. It just wasn't. The crowd wasn't really into it. Plus,
We kept it.
they kept the money that they made.
Yeah.
And almost every team got over $1,000.
Blake showed me the numbers.
Ouch.
There were 12 teams out there.
Yeah.
So I didn't make any money on this event. It all went to the teams.
It all went to cash grab.
As it should have. Because they were, without the teams, we have no show.
Yeah.
You know? And boy, were people into it. I loved that we let the crowd decide on the loser's punishment at one point. The crowd decided that the loser of every event should jump in the mud
pit.
pool.
In the pit.
So after
In the
every
pit.
single event, the entire crowd would chant to the losers, "In the pool! In the pool!"
That's awesome.
To hear 5,000 people chanting. I mean, it was like being at a very weird soccer match.
Yeah.
It was
the scariest.
unbelievable.
The scariest moment to me was when the guy fell with the trailer.
That was...
He
was all right.
He was luckily he was an amazing athlete. He
Yeah.
was a really, really good
He was,
athlete.
one of the guys from
Hatchet.
Hatchet Pro Wrestling.
But
yeah.
when he went down and I saw the tongue, I was like, because I'm looking straight down from the opposite of where you were at. And I was just like, oh, thank God it missed him.
Yeah, he was fine. He was good.
No. But
Tough guy.
he was trying to run backwards, and they were winning. He was backpedaling, and the guy pushing was pushing faster, and he could run backwards.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this ain't going to be good.
Yeah. No, but there were some wipeouts for sure. There were some wipeouts, but everybody was good.
And I told you this at the event. Your volunteers didn't screw up when the keys were messed up on that event.
Right.
What they did is your volunteers gave the keys to the guys that were on that side, and then the people on that side switched and took the keys with them.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that screwed up the keys.
Yeah.
It wasn't the volunteers. It wasn't you guys at all.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to them, you need to switch the keys, and they weren't listening at all.
Oh, they didn't listen to you.
No, they didn't listen at all.
Yeah, that was their bad.
There was so many people chanting and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
They probably couldn't.
And it was one of those things where this is the first year, and we were kind of loose with the rules. I mean, look, Florida man, loose with the rules. Okay, Florida men are loose with the rules, as we know from these stories. So we made some of that stuff up as we went, man, and it turned out great. I got to thank everybody who came out. I got to thank you guys for all the help you guys were during the whole thing. Our amazing volunteers, Ice and Nitro, the amazing folks who helped us cover this event, Cara and Renee, just everybody, every single person who had even the smallest hand in it made it possible. And I'm forever grateful to you for the type of event you helped me pull off.
Yeah, the deputies.
And Kelly, by the way, Kelly Lyon, this was a 2-person team.
Yeah.
Myself and Kelly and boy, it just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, Clay said the deputies that were doing the chasing. What great sports. What great sports
amazing. They were. I cannot thank the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office enough for their participation, not only in the fight night and the firefighters as well, but boy, they were into it. The evading arrest was the headliner of
it was
the games themselves.
It was my favorite event.
Oh, and people were ready for it. That's why they stayed all day. They wanted to see that event. They wanted to see cops chase our contestants. And they were diving all over that field, man. It's funny because I had them, so my plan was to have them, I bought 4 tasers. And my plan was to have them not tase anybody, but tag the contestants with the tasers. And so we get out there, and I hadn't put any batteries in this thing. I figured there were no batteries in this thing. And we get out there, I'm like, hey, you guys want to use these tasers to tag these guys? And I hit the button and it goes, dzz.
It was real.
Yes. And the crowd, when they heard the taser noise, as I was talking to the police, they were like, "Oh!" They were ready for people to get tased. Nobody got tased. Nobody got tased.
Well, I think the funniest one, there was one out of all of them that actually did not get tagged. But
yes.
But the funny thing was, the police officer tripped up on a cow. And that's what
really?
that's what made me just die. It was like
I think I saw that clip. Yeah.
He knocked the cow kind of into the police officer, and that's why he went down.
There
And it was like,
you
oh
go.
my gosh.
There you go.
The cow
and the
tipping got
crowd
him.
went crazy for the guy who got away. Because most people, like you said, Troy, did not get away from the cops.
He was the only one, I think,
Yeah.
out of 12
and we
people.
gave them a head start. We gave these competitors a head start from the cops, but they were into it. They loved it. So again, big shout out to St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, everybody involved. Just amazing. Just amazing. We put together a hell of a day, and I say we, and I mean absolutely every single person involved, from the smallest piece they played to the guy that filled up the pool.
God bless him.
Sorry, that was...
All right. So what a day, man. What a day. We got to do it next year. We got to do it bigger and better, and maybe there'll be a TV show. Moving on.
It was fun.
It was great.
It was a lot of fun.
It was great. I hope everybody had a great time. From what I hear, everybody did have a great time.
And Wicks was perfect for it. Wicks was
perfect.
You and him, it looked like you and him had worked together because you weren't stepping on each other. You guys really flowed well together.
Yeah.
And, you know, you and I have been together, and Davey's now been with us for years too. It's not easy when someone else comes in here.
Nope.
You know, and you and him kind of flowed almost immediately, which made it even more seamless.
And shout out to Mike Boylan from Mike's Weather Page. He was out there. People loved seeing him out there. Lane Pittman, the Hurricane Slayer himself.
Yeah.
Out there doing the national anthem and competing.
Yep.
We had a real Florida man competing in the Florida Man game.
So cool.
It was amazing. It was an amazing day. An unbelievable day that I am still on a high from, that, as you guys now know, almost could have easily flopped. Could have easily flopped without the great help that I had out there. So I'm immensely grateful to everybody who had a hand in it, everybody who showed up. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.